Okay. So we have some, you guys are so devoted here. So let's talk about the foundation. And the foundation is pretty much, your energy, the consistency, whatever has been ongoing for the past few months. Okay. So this is your card. We have here this is basically the Prince of Cups, and it's basically the Knight of Cups. Okay, so the way that these cards are coming out and the way that they're named can be a little bit confusing, because the page is actually the Princess of Cups, and I'll show you that in a little bit if it comes out. But either way, what this denotes is your energy is very stable. It's very consistent. So this is you making an offer of love to another person. It's very consistent. And the offer can be very deep. It can be very sincere. But the partner that you're dealing with, we have here the Emperor in the reverse position. You're dealing with somebody who might be kind of like lost as to their place in the world. They're feeling a little bit frustrated that they're not able to make the traction in the world that they want. They might be blocked when it comes to their career. There might even be family expectations, family interference as well, coming into the picture that's preventing them from making any solid, I want to say like to get them giving you any type of a concrete answer. Okay. And then I feel for others of you, the person that you're dealing with, they're not able to make their mark. They're kind of like beating themselves up over not being able to be very successful. They're not able to make the strides in life that they want. And so while you're giving this person a lot of love, and while they might really care about you and they might really love you, it's just hard for them to be, 100% optimistic about the direction of the relationship, or even commit to you, because their life is not exactly how they envision it right now, and their life is just not going the way that they want. I do see you're dealing with someone who's very frustrated with their career direction, who's very frustrated that they're not, like at this point in their life, let's say if they're 40, they're just like, when I was young, I didn't envision that, my life was going to look like this at 40. So that's the energy that I'm seeing here. For many of you, it could be like if you're dealing with another water sign, so another Scorpio, a Pisces, or a Cancer, I do feel that there's an element here about, two people kind of like have different plans for the future. One person can be very committed and the other person feels as if this relationship is not enough. Okay. There's still a lot of love. There's still a lot of very big water energy here, which is emotions being stirred. But I feel like it might be a lot stronger from one person rather than, it being reciprocal. I feel like it's a lot stronger from one person, and it's a little bit more, it's deeper for one person and it's a little shallower for the other person. So the other person might feel like, I don't know if this relationship is enough. I want more out of life. I want more out of my relationships, or I want more in terms of, a more vibrant, dynamic, stable relationship. So I feel like some of you have been dealing with this for quite some time. So in the past position, what we have here is the Seven of Pentacles. So this is a card about, putting in the work and waiting for the harvest. It's about like the exchange of energy. You're putting in the work. You're working very consistently to build up a relationship, to build up the self-esteem of your relationship partner, to like take care of issues when they creep into the picture, and to nurture and nourish your relationships. You're very committed, and many of you have been very, very devoted to the people that you have been in relationships with. And I'm sensing you might have a relationship partner here where you're putting in a lot of the work and you're just like, I'm not seeing the results. I don't know if I should invest any more time in this. I don't know if I should invest any more energy in it, because the other person doesn't feel like they're 100% on board. Okay. It's linked up with the Hangman, and this is in the reverse position. So it's like, I feel like there might have been times where you had to take time off from each other. So it indicates to me in the past, there might have been some, let's go on a break. Let's not see each other for a while. Let's figure out let's take some time off from each other so that we can figure out other things so that I can figure out my work and so that you can figure out what you want to do. So I feel like there were a lot of breakages in this relationship. It's like breaking up and then coming back together. I mentioned before, if there are issues with, long distance relationship, that can also be it, like coming in to see each other and then the distance kind of one person has to go back where they're coming from. And so that there's a period of when you're together, things are really good, but it's lacking direction. And then when you're apart, you really, really miss and yearn for the other person. Okay. So this is like, it indicates to me coming back in and then breaking up, coming back and then splitting up. In the present environment, we have here the Seven of Wands. This is arguments, opposition, and having a lot on your plate, or your partner having a lot on their plate that they're taking care of, that you might even feel kind of like what I mentioned before, you're on the back burner. So they might not communicate with you on a consistent basis. You text them and you get no response. And the important thing is to understand to understand this. To understand that they have a lot of things that are coming at them all at once: work, finances, other obligations, the day-to-day operations of their life, even, waking up, going to the gym, getting the car repaired, like all of these mundane things that we need to do to sustain ourselves. I feel like your partner is being inundated with a lot of stuff. And so they really can't commit to you, or they're not at a point where, you text them and they immediately answer, even though they really care about you and even though they think about you. It's just they're inundated with a lot of responsibilities right now. It's linked up here with the Five of Wands. So don't make this into like a jealousy thing, okay? If they're like taking their time to respond, it's not because they're with somebody else. So try to be supportive, try to be emotionally available. And especially, don't try to say like, oh, you're not going to text me, so I'm not going to text you. Just understand at the baseline level that where they're coming from, what they're dealing with right now, and to be, approach it from a place of understanding and a place of sympathy, so that you don't create problems out of nothing. Like, I feel a lot of misunderstandings here happening between you and your relationship partner. And so really taking the time to not jump to conclusions, okay? Not jump to conclusions. Relationships, I feel, is a major focus for this month. And for many of you, the distance, or just the fact that they're dealing with their own things, they're dealing with their own problems, it can feel very isolating. It's like you're there, but they're not really reaching out to you. They want to solve things on their own. And if you're dealing with a partner that's like this is someone who's really independent. The Emperor is like very, very independent, very intelligent, very smart. And this energy is someone, when they're not at their best, they want to retreat and kind of take care of things on their own. They don't really like to ask people for help. They don't really like to whine and sulk and, show that they're vulnerable. So I feel like you have a partner that is very proud, and they were somebody, they were like a big shot in their days. They might have fallen from that pedestal, or they might have come across, or they might have recently, been dealing with some type of difficulties in their own life. And so if you're dealing with someone who's very proud, they're going to want to take care of problems by themselves. They're going to have trouble reaching out for help. And so being sympathetic, I feel, is going to be the major, major theme, okay? Be understanding, be sympathetic. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't, if you text them, they don't respond, don't think about worst case scenarios. Oh, there was somebody else. Or don't think like, well, you didn't respond to me, so now that you're texting me, I'm not going to respond to you. Don't play those petty games, okay? Crowning this reading, we have the Justice card as well as the Temperance card. So both of these are major arcana cards. So this is a card about reciprocity. This is a card about balance. This is a card about harmony. So crowning this reading is something that you're thinking about, okay? Whatever, I can assure you, for those of you in a relationship, whatever you feel for your partner, it is definitely being reciprocated. But your partner might have a lot of difficulties trying to sort out their lives, trying to manage all their responsibilities. So they might be a little bit MIA, absent-minded, not as thoughtful, not at their best for this month. Okay, and I feel like, unfortunately, the energy is spanning, you know, throughout this month is what I'm sensing. And so if feelings are reciprocated, if you can trust that they're there with you, if you can trust that they're devoted and that they're just going through a rough patch in their own personal life, be the one to reach out. Be the one to make that connection, and, you know, don't hold grudges, okay? What's coming through in the future position? I have here the Ten of Pentacles, and this is basically things are going to right themselves again, okay? There's commitment coming in. There's promises being made between you and a partner, and this is basically getting the love and the acceptance and, you know, the total bliss and the emotional happiness. So if your partner or you are worried about, you know, where's my life going to take? Like, what's going on with my professional life? What's going on with my career? I feel like things are going to be stable. Things are going to be very, very solid. And with this financial abundance at your or your partner's disposal, then there's going to be more commitment coming through. Okay. And I feel like with this page, this is once again the Princess of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles. I understand this. This deck is a little bit confusing, and that's why I don't use it often. But this is basically somebody making you a promise. They're telling you, okay, now that I have this, now that I have the commitment, now that I have the stability, I'm going to commit to you. I'm going to offer you, you know, gradually all of myself. But at this point in my life, I can only give you this. And if you can take this, I promise you, I'm going to be able to build a future with you. So you're getting some very, very solid offers in the picture. I'm seeing for many of you, this is indicative of all signs, okay? I'm not seeing like the king or the queen to indicate to me a specific sign that you might be dealing with. I'm feeling for many of you fire, a lot of fire energy here, and fire signs, Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. They're really worried about their day-to-day, everyday operations. They're stressed for time, and I'm also sensing they're frustrated with where they are professionally, okay? So be understanding. And I feel like that situation is going to start to clear itself up. And then for others of you, especially if you have an earth sign, single people, if you have an earth sign in your midst, earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, I feel like if you 100% know for sure that they are, you know, split up from their partner, they're no longer interacting with their partner, I feel like you need to take it slowly with them, okay? So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I feel like it can be the beginning of something good, but it needs to be approached very slowly because this page energy is very skittish, okay? They might want to date a few people. They might want to date around. They might want to have an open relationship, or they might have a friends with benefits type of a relationship because they're not at a point where they want to commit just yet. They want to play the field. They want to figure out what's the best option for them. So they're practically minded, and they're going to find, you know, the best relationship partner. So I feel like it's still trying to test the waters. This person is still trying to figure you out. And so if you take your time, I feel like it can develop, okay? But I feel that you still need to slow things down. And then I'm also sensing for many of you dealing with a Libra. Libras in particular, because of this Justice card, and this is crowning the reading. So many of you might be thinking about this, and you might be thinking about, you know, like whether or not this relationship is worth it. You're dealing with someone who is emotionally a little bit up and down. And so if you're dealing with them and they're a little bit emotionally up and down, you're kind of like the anchor, the pillar in the pillar of stability in the relationship. And I feel like the role that you're playing, it can feel a little bit exhausting. Okay. So that's what I have for you here, Scorpios. I hope this has been helpful for many of you. And once again, you know, the energy for this month is to try to be very, very empathetic. Don't jump to conclusions. Put yourself in your partner's shoes. Really understand where they're coming from, which is something you naturally do. But a lot of the times when we have a, you know, ongoing, long-standing relationship with somebody, they know how to push our buttons. And we also see them at their best and also at their worst. So it's hard to see them objectively, but I would urge you, be patient with your partner. If you know you're a fixed sign, so for you, yes and no are very clear. It's very easy for you to say yes or no. And I feel like for your partner, they have a bunch of stuff that's really bogging down the answers. It's like, it's not just yes or no, it's about like all the nuances that they have to navigate through in order to arrive at an answer, yes or no. And so you're going to have to work on their time frame, unfortunately, which can be frustrating, but I feel like, you know, be patient, put yourself in their shoes and really understand them and just approach it with a very warm-hearted, understanding type of manner, and it's going to be fine. Okay?